Call to order for a Watertown City Council meeting for November 19th of 2025. Please rise while we allow Hank Rosso, the fire chaplain for the Watertown Fire Rescue, to lead us in prayer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please join me in prayer. There's the right button. Thank you, Your Honor. Please join me in prayer. Sound like a parrot, don't I? God in heaven, as we come to you this evening, we are so grateful to you. We take so many things for granted. Your love for us is displayed in so many ways, including this time here in this great community. And these people working together, our city leaders and each one and all the departments, and we want to just say thank you this time of year and always. We ask for safety for those in law enforcement, our first responders at the fire stations. Thank you for safety to those in utilities and the street department, and each one, we take these for granted. We thank you for your wisdom and understanding you give freely for those who ask, and for your presence here in this meeting tonight. And it's in Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Finance Officer Bob Zine, please call the roll.
Okay. Mormon?
Here.
Jurens? Absent?
Here.
Never mind. Here. Peters? Here. Shetty?
Here.
Allen?
Here.
Hoyer?
Here.
Holeen?
Here.
Thank you.
All right, we are all here. Quorum is established. Chair will entertain a motion to approve. Well, actually, first I'm going to ask if anyone has a conflict of interest they would like to disclose. Councilman Hoyer.
I'm going to abstain from 12 Alpha and 12 Bravo.
All right, thank you. Anybody else? Okay, please note that on the minutes if we do a voice vote. But I will go to approve tonight's agenda with one change. I'm going to be removing item 8F off of the consent agenda, and we will place that. Where would we like to place that, City Manager? Go 13B? I'm good with that.
That's good.
Okay. So I will be taking 8F off of consent and putting it as the last agenda item on tonight's business. With that change, can I get a motion to approve the agenda? Motion made by Councilman Allen, seconded by Councilman Mormon. All those in favor of approving the agenda with that change, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Now we are on to open forum. If there is anyone who would like to address the council on an item that is not on tonight's agenda, now is your time to do so. I'll close the open forum and move on to tonight's agenda. Item 10A is an approval of a change order for the 2024 Park and Recreation Improvement Sign Project with MAC Landscaping and Irrigation for an increase of roughly $11,000 for a new contract price of $128,268.46. We'll go to our city manager, Alan Steger, for more information.
Thank you, Mayor. This change order is related to changing the quantity of signs. Since the project was initially scoped, we've added a pickleball court, and we've also added a River Ridge Park. We had room under the existing budget line item to add these two signs. In the future, as we add new parks, we will include the signage as part of those projects. I'll stand by for any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Can I get a motion to approve the change order? Motion made by Councilman Shetty, seconded by Councilman Hoyer. Let's open it up for council questions or comments. Councilman Hoyer.
The pillars look nice, gotta say.
And I've been receiving lots of compliments about the signs as well, so I think it was long overdue, and it's a nice change, and I think the public is appreciative, so thank you for doing that. Any other comments? I feel confident doing a voice vote. All those in favor of approving the change order, please say aye. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Go on to item 11A, a first reading of an ordinance amending Title VII City Government, Chapter 7.01, City Limits and Datum Line. City Manager Stager.
Thank you, Mayor. This item is being brought to you as part of an ordinance cleanup. You may recall, over the last couple of meetings, we've been trying to bring some of the small changes that don't require a tremendous amount of study or debate to you so that we can clean up and streamline the ordinance book. Essentially, what this change does is it removes a meets and bounds description of the city from ordinance, which currently spans over 6 pages, and replaces it with reference to a city map, as well as instructions for where that city map is retained or maintained in the office of the city engineer. We recommend approval, and we'll stand by for any questions.
Thank you. This is a first reading. We don't need action, but I would encourage questions or comments. Council? And I just want to make it clear to anybody listening, this is probably something long overdue. In the age of computers and accurate maps, we can basically show you the lines of the city limits, and we don't need to be describing them with paragraphs or pages long of, where the city ends or begins. So that's what is essentially happening here. Any other comments? We'll go on to item 12A, a renewal of a retail liquor license for Watertown Mavericks LLC, doing business as Maverick Steaks and Cocktails. And we'll go to our city finance officer, Kristen Bobzien.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Yes, before the council is a renewal of the liquor license. The reason this is in front of you is because there was a violation. This was heard at their previous malt beverage license renewal. So we've already kind of discussed it, but in terms of this one, fees have been paid, notice is published. If there's any questions, I can answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to testify on this item? I'll close the public hearing, open it up for council action. Can I get a motion to renew the license? Motion made by Councilman Schutte. Seconded by Councilman Mormon. Thank you for that. Any comments or questions, council? I always wait just a little bit longer when we've got 2 councilmen online, so just in case they want to say something. But I feel pretty confident this is routine. As Finance Officer Bobzien said, we already dealt with this with
their malt beverage.
their
yeah.
malt beverage, so pretty common sense. So I will go to a voice vote. All those in favor of renewing the license, please say aye. 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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item 12B is a renewal of a retail wine and cider license for Aldi Incorporated. And we'll go back to our city finance officer, Kristen Bobzien.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. Yes, on this one, this is a renewal also of the wine and cider license. This is a new violation. This violation did take place in July. This was also a sale to a minor. All fees have been paid, notice is published. This license holder did receive a letter notifying them that the meeting was scheduled and that if they wanted to attend, there would be a public hearing. So if there's any questions, I can answer them. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll open a public hearing. Is there anyone who would like to testify on this? I'll close the public hearing. Can I get a motion from council to renew the license? Motion made by Councilman Schutte, seconded by Councilman Mormon. Any questions or comments? It's just, did we receive any communication back from the company?
I did not receive any communication.
Okay. But we're also not aware of anything
No.
egregious
Nope.
behind it? Okay. All right, thank you. Feel confident to go to a voice vote on this. All those in favor of renewing the license, please say aye. 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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion carries. Item 12C is a second reading of an ordinance amending the zoning map of the city of Watertown for a portion of property to be known as Innovative Adjusters Addition from R2A Single Family Attached Residential District to C3 Highway Commercial District. Community Development Manager Brandy Hanton, please tell us more.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could get my screen up, I can show the corresponding map. So, as stated, this is the second reading of this rezone request for the properties at 812 and 820 West Kemp. It will be rezoning this small portion here that I'm pointing out on the map to C3 Highway Commercial to combine it with the existing property at 812 West Kemp. And then the existing R2A, which is Single Family Attached Residential District, will remain for 820 West Kemp. And both of these lots are conforming to the minimum lot size requirements. And then the only thing is, at the time of replatting, which will be done administratively, there will be an easement that will intersect this property running north and south where there's an existing gas line from, serviced by WMU. So with that, I'll stand by for any questions.
Thank you. I'll open a public hearing. Is there any outside testimony on this? I'll close the public hearing. Can I get a motion from council to approve the ordinance amendment? Motion made by Councilman Allen. Seconded by Councilman Shudy. Any questions or comments, council? All right. We had been through this before, so it had been properly vetted. I will do a roll call vote on this one, though.
Caught me off guard. Okay, here we go. Mormon,
Aye.
Jurens,
Aye.
Peters, Shudy,
Aye.
Allen,
Aye.
Hoyer,
Aye.
Helene,
Aye.
all in favor.
Motion carries. Item 12D is a second reading of an ordinance amending Title 13 Offenses and Regulations, specifically Chapter 13.02, Regulation of the Sale, Purchase, and Possession of Hemp-Derived Products. City Manager Steger.
Thank you, Mayor. As indicated in the title of the ordinance and as discussed in several prior meetings, the intent of this ordinance is to prohibit the sale of various hemp-derived products to individuals under 21 years of age. This is intended to close any possible or perceived loopholes in state law, just to make it clear that they're regulated products not to be sold to people under 21 years of age. I'll stand by for any questions.
Thank you. I will take it up to the council. Can I get a motion to approve the ordinance amendment? Motion made by Councilman Shudy.
I'll second.
Seconded by Councilman Mormon. Any questions or comments? Councilman Shudy.
Really just a comment, just, when we had some folks testify of what they've experienced and seen, and even an establishment themselves that sell products like this, having everybody get involved to come together as a community to just make it a safer place, at least for our youth, in this category. So appreciate everybody that got involved.
Any further comments or questions? Councilman Mormon.
I just want to make a quick comment, too. I just want to thank the staff, City Attorney Lisa Carrico, City Manager Alan Stager, and everybody that worked on putting this together. It was a lot of process, and there was a lot of time and research that went into this. And so I just want to acknowledge all the work that staff had done for this.
I'd also like to point out, I'm not going to suggest that Watertown was the small town that forced the federal government to finally take a look at this. But if anyone was paying attention to the news, when Congress voted to end the shutdown, they also added some different rules. And some of those rules are the rules that we, as Watertown, have been working on for quite some time now, for several weeks, to deal with these hemp-infused beverages. And I would say that our federal government, I'm pretty sure they came up with the idea on their own, but I'd like to say that Watertown was still out at the forefront. We definitely are in the state addressing this issue, And I appreciate all of the testimony that we had from people who came forward to say that this is a problem. Whether or not it's actually happening on a large scale here in Watertown is somewhat beside the point. The fact that it could be happening and that it was completely left unregulated is more the issue. If we knew that something was a potential public hazard, and we were unregulating it, that would be upon us, and it would be our fault if we did not address it. So in this case, I applaud council as well as all of the staff to deal with this, and also want to thank the federal government. But it's going to take them a year for that to be in effect on the federal level. At least here in Watertown, we're going to be safe for the next year. So, any other comments or questions? Motion is to approve the ordinance amendment. All those in favor will say aye. Opposed, nay. Finance Officer Bob Zine, please call the roll.
Okay. Mormon,
Aye.
Jurens,
Aye.
Peters. Okay, we'll pass. Shetty,
Aye.
Allen,
Aye.
Hoyer,
Aye.
Holdine.
Aye.
Motion,
Motion carries. Item 12E is a second reading of the 2026 budget appropriation. We have two separate motions in here. One is going to be the ordinance for the city budget appropriation, and number two is going to be the enterprise funds budget. We will take those separate when it comes time to vote, but we will take them together when it comes time to discuss. City Manager Steger.
Thank you, Mayor. The first item is approving the operating budget for the city. You have in the agenda package a fairly large schedule of the various funds that will be approved. This is the second reading, but just as a reminder, the overall budget is $65.4 million for 2026, which is a reduction from 2025 by about $10 million. The primary driver of the reduction is the completion of some of the major wastewater projects that were included in the prior year's budgets. I can stand by for any questions. Up to this point, I've not really received any detailed questions, so there's nothing new to address here, but we'll try to address anything as they come up tonight.
Thank you. Council, in order for us to discuss, I'd like to get a motion to approve item 1, which is the city budget appropriation ordinance. Motion made by Councilman Allen. Seconded by Councilman Jurens. Thank you very much. Let's open it up for any questions. And again, council, you can ask questions on either item 1 or 2, but we will be voting on just item 1. I'd just like to thank the city manager and the city finance officer and all the department heads for putting together what I believe is a very good budget. And also, I appreciate the conversation that we have had as a council dealing with the city manager and the department heads and all the staff as far as understanding where we prioritize our money, but also understanding that this is setting it for the next year, and changes are always possible. So we will take that into consideration, and we look forward to working with the staff as any of those changes might come up. So, any other comments? We're going to vote just on item 12E1, which is the city budget appropriation. All those in favor will say aye, opposed nay. Please call the roll.
okay. Mormon,
Aye.
Jurens,
Aye.
Peters,
Aye.
okay. Shetty,
Aye.
Allen,
Aye.
Hoyer,
Aye.
Helene,
Aye.
all in favor.
All in favor, motion passes. Item 12E2, can I get a motion to approve the enterprise funds budget? Motion made by Shetty. Need a second here.
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilman Mormon. Any comments or questions on this? Hearing none, I'm going to do a roll call vote.
Okay.
It's a big enough vote.
Okay, here we go. Mormon,
Aye.
Jurens,
Aye.
Peters,
Aye.
Shetty,
Aye.
Allen,
Aye.
Hoyer,
Aye.
Pauline?
Aye.
All in favor?
All in favor, motion passes. Item 13A is an approval of the long-term capital improvement plans for 2027 to 2036. City Manager Stager.
Thank you, Mayor. As a reminder, we have been through a review of the capital improvement plan in some level of detail for 2026, as well as discussions on the council priority projects, as well as a review of the city's debt level and anticipated future funding level. This plan puts before you to review the plan going out to the 2036 period. This is essential for our long-term planning to ensure that we have adequate revenues or debt levels in place to be able to support these plans, to continue the operation of government. This plan, again, is a plan at a point in time, which is today. It can and will inevitably evolve as we go through the next few years, but this does help provide both the public and the council some insight as to what we are collectively thinking as we go forward as a city. I'll stand by for questions.
Thank you, and we will get to those questions after I get a motion to approve the plan. Can I get a motion to approve? Made by Councilman Mormon. Seconded by Councilman Shoddy. Council, any input? Councilman Allen.
City Manager Stager, could you just talk a little bit about the process that you go through with the departments to establish that? Because I know it takes a lot of work in the departments and planning for what their needs are in the future, et cetera.
We do start, this is actually the first thing that we go through in the budget process each year. And it does involve the department heads where we go through and have a discussion with all department heads represented around the table, and we speak in some level of detail about what they have in each of their individual plans. And the benefit of that process is everybody gets to see what others are thinking. And so we come with a consensus for what is in the best collective good as a city as a whole. Because as you know, and as we've worked through with our sales tax revenues, we're dealing with a pretty limited pool of funds. Generally, this CapEx is covered by our second penny, which is great because, for instance, the entire team can see the benefit or the requirement of maintaining streets at about $3.5 million a year. And it really leads to more cooperation across the departments. So I'm really happy with the way the team came together this year and put the plan together.
Any follow-up, Councilman? Councilman Hoyer?
I was just going to say, specifically, we're really excited, at least in our neck of the woods, to see that with the improvements that happened to some of the park signage, that we do have some things slated for some of our older parks to do some equipment replacement. There's a number of them kind of in the older parts of town that have been pretty for want, and so we'll be excited to see those coming here in the next 1 to 2 years.
Not sure, do we still have any of those old slides that are made of metal that? Nelson Park, baby. Nelson Park? Personally, out of nostalgia, I'd like to keep those.
Yeah.
And merry-go-rounds too, but anyway.
They took that out a while ago.
I know. Anyway, Councilman Mormon.
Just a quick question, and maybe just for the general information for the public. Out of these different sections that we look at, like public safety, public works, health and welfare, culture, if we look at the previous 10 years and then going forward in the future for 10 years, is there any of those areas where you feel like it's going to be required a substantial amount more money be spent, whether it's because equipment's getting more expensive or whatever? Is there one that stands out as like, this area is going to be considerably more than what we had to spend in the last 10 years?
I would say streets and the equipment required to maintain streets. Because the large pieces of capital equipment, the price is growing at a rate faster than inflation. And our sales tax revenues grow at the rate of inflation. So we do need to keep our eyes on streets so that we can continue to maintain at the level we have. The last really 4 years, the councils have stepped up with some enhanced funding of streets.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Any other input? The motion is to approve the long-term capital plan. All those in favor will say aye, opposed nay. Finance Officer Bob Zine.
Okay. Mormon?
Aye.
Durant?
Aye.
Peters? Shetty?
Aye.
Allen?
Aye.
Hoyer?
Aye.
Pauline?
Aye.
All in favor.
All in favor, motion passes. Item 13B is 8F off of consent, which is an approval of a professional services agreement for services associated with managing risk, compliance, and the reporting of misconduct and other incidents for a total contract in the amount of $4,108.39. City Manager Steger.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Council, for pulling this off of the consent agenda. It allows me to speak about this program, which I think is extremely important in our city. Navex is a company that offers various compliance solutions, primarily to publicly traded companies. If you go way back to 2002, following Enron and the major financial scandals, many people ask, well, why didn't somebody raise their hand and say something was wrong? And as a result of that, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002 was passed, which requires publicly traded companies to have various reporting mechanisms in place. So companies such as Navex, who you may recognize doing business as Ethics Point, have really become the standard across most large organizations in the business or in the private sector. I was a bit surprised coming into this role and also during the interview process to really learn on the governmental side, we don't have this in place. You might recall that there was a charter review by a group of citizens mid-year that was conducted following interviews across many of the city staff members who raised concerns and issues at that time. As I was in the interview process for this job, I was absolutely shocked to read that there were some employees who didn't feel comfortable even responding to that survey. In the private world, that just wouldn't happen. And so during the interview process, I pointed out to the council that, yes, we need an ethics reporting hotline. We need some ethical reporting tools in place so that our culture and team can operate in an environment where full transparency and disclosure is something that can take place without fear of losing jobs or repercussions. And so I fully support this, and again, thank you for pulling it off the consent agenda so that I can speak to it a little bit.
Thank you, City Manager. I would also like to say something for those who are watching or listening. The colloquialism for this would be a whistleblower hotline. I prefer to think of it as an information helpline, because if anybody who works for the city or has information regarding what the city is doing, it is a good avenue to offer people, is a place where their voice can be registered and heard, and if there is information that could help the city do a job better, then that is something we want to know. But we need to have people confident that they can share that information without retribution or consequences. Still doesn't mean that every tip that comes in is 100% valid. You also always got to factor that in, but it does mean that people will have the assurance that their voice can be heard if they feel the need that something needs to be said and factored into any deliberation with the city at any level. So on that, I will open it up for council action. Can I get a motion to approve the agreement? Motion made by Councilman Allen, seconded by Councilman Hoyer. Council, any comments? Councilman Mormon.
Yeah, I would just want to say thank you, City Manager Alan Stager, for this opportunity and for creating this hotline for the employees. I had a former employee reach out to me when he heard about this opportunity of what we were going to institute, and he sent me a letter. His name is Devin Kwasniewski, and he wrote up his experience having worked for the city, and basically detailed why it is valuable to have a hotline. So I'm just going to read his letter. Yeah, I appreciate him reaching out. I appreciate him sending this to me, and I'll read it, and we'll go from there. City employment under corrupt leadership. What started out as a positive-looking new option as a city engineering employee turned into a sham fest by everyone from the city engineering manager and to the rest of the city in HR. As a South Dakota National Guard soldier at the time, I carried myself with pride and honor in every aspect of my life. I also had a government top secret security clearance at that time. There would be nothing that I would do to jeopardize that in any form whatsoever. When I was asked to have a meeting with HR and the city engineer and was informed that they found that I had been looking at porn on my work laptop, I immediately replied with a, quote, "Show me the proof," with a smile on my face. I knew that there was zero proof, as I am a happily married man and have zero need to look at porn in the comforts of my own home, as well as zero need to look at porn at work. Doing such an action would cause me to lose my security clearance and my job. I was then told that they would get the proof together and I would have days off until hearing about the matter. Once that day came, as I sat inside the police station meeting room in front of their best show of a Gestapo to try and strong-arm me in fear, I was confident that they had nothing on me, and that's exactly what they cowardly said. Instead, they said I had internet time during work hours looking at non-work-related websites. All the while, there were many others in the office that looked at websites all day long about things that weren't work-related. It was an attempt to scare me into submission. I did not back down, and I will tell anyone who would like to listen about the corruption within the city engineering and HR departments. So I just read that verbatim, essentially, of what he had to write. I appreciate him reaching out. Long, slow hand salute to a former Red Leg for having the courage to do that. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions, council? I would just take the opportunity to end this on a positive note because I think this is a very positive development for the city. It is something that is going to help people in the future, all city employees. It can help anybody share information that they think is pertinent, important, in any situation when it comes to personnel, but also in decisions for the city, because I'm not even exactly sure what tips we might be getting, what information we might be getting shared, but the fact that we are providing this avenue for people to share information that could be pertinent is a good thing. So I appreciate that, and I'm going to focus on the good things that are going to come of this. All right. Any other comments? The motion is to approve the agreement. All those in favor will say aye. Opposed, nay. Officer Bob Zine.
Okay. Mormon?
On behalf of a lot of employees who have been wronged in many situations over the last 4 years, I'm very happy to say aye.
Okay. Jurgens?
Aye.
Peters?
Aye.
Shetty?
Aye.
Allen?
Aye.
Hoyer?
Aye.
Helene?
Aye.
All in favor.
Motion is unanimous in favor. Motion passes. We're on to city council member announcements and introduction of topics of future discussion. I would like to just say something out to the public that, as always, if you are interested in serving on any board or committee for the city of Watertown, we do have an avenue on our city website where you can go and submit your name, your interest, your maybe background, why you're interested in serving on a specific board or committee. We are always looking for good people to serve and help the city. So please consider that if you're interested. Or you can also just contact me or a councilman. But actually going through the city website is probably a really good avenue of doing it. So any other announcements? Any city manager report?
A couple of things for the group tonight. First of all, on Monday of this week, We switched over and began the commissioning process on the new portion of the wastewater treatment facility. It's a pretty significant milestone with the large amount of money that has been spent there. Now, the next phase of the project will turn to retrofitting the older portion of the plant. And so, although it's an area of the city most people don't see, we're spending about $60 million to ensure the infrastructure for the future growth of the community. Secondly, we approved the enterprise funds tonight, and I really just want to call out the airport board, who had their monthly meeting yesterday, and our airport manager, Ian Merriweather. So although they are an enterprise fund, we struggle, as most small airports do, in terms of generating a profit or covering the costs. And it's really commendable how Ian Merriweather, the airport manager, has started to dig into the financials and the numbers, and also walk his board through strategic actions that can be taken to really create the airport as a center of economic development in the community, and not just an asset that's there for general aviation and the commercial activities that we have. Finally, with the help of two of our council members and city staff, we've launched a deeper dive into the new street facility. Our next step in that process is to engage with the architectural firm who we have been working with to see if they are willing to work with us and to complete their unfinished project at a reasonable amount. If not, we'll have to go a different route and bring in a new firm. But I would say I think we're about as close to launching a real RFP on that project as we've probably been in years. And so thank you to Councilman Moorman and Councilman Schutte. Both have invested several lengthy afternoons the last couple of weeks.
So we know who to blame if it turns out poorly. That's my takeaway from that. No, I actually thank you for putting in that time, and hopefully we will, I'm sure I speak for everyone on council that we look forward to bringing that project to completion. All right, we do have a reason to go into executive session tonight for a contractual matter. We will not be taking any action when we come out, so therefore anyone who's here, you can leave. But we will be adjourning later. But with that said, can I get a motion to go into executive session? Motion made by Councilman Hoyer, seconded by Councilman Allen. All those in favor of going into executive session, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say nay. Motion is unanimous, motion carries. Good night, and God bless you, Watertown.